Hello, this is Seneca the Younger, and today I'll be reviewing The Newsies. The Newsies is a movie directed by Kenneth John Ortega. He's an American filmmaker, a touring manager, and a choreographer. He's not just known for The Newsies though, he's also known for pretty big hits like Jackson's This Is It, Descendants, Hocus Pocus, and probably the most notable of all, High School Musical. Everybody's heard that one? Newsies was made in 1992 and is owned by Disney. The movie features a group of young orphans who are growing up in New York City in the year 1899. The cast consists of characters such as Jack, or also known as Cowboy, who is the experienced type, loved by all, charming, and sort of a bad boy. There's Crutch, who I should mention resembles a lot like my friend Julius. He's also just widely beloved by all, a very wholesome sort of character that moves around on a crutch, as his name would suggest. There's also David and Les, a lot more innocent characters being introduced to this new field of work. Moving around newspapers turns out to be hard work, and Cowboy is helping them out. At first, it's a little bit difficult getting into it. David has a hard time trusting Cowboy, but soon they get over that. However, it turns out that Cowboy has a bit of a bad past with law enforcement and is going to go back into what is basically a detention center or a prison for children. So that's a bit of a struggle. However, the call to action comes when the price of newspapers, which children have to buy themselves, gets raised to 60 cents per 100 newspapers. That's a markup of 10 cents, of 50 cents for each 100, but that's a lot for the children, causing them to contemplate on what to do. This call to action soon increases in volume as they make a union. Now, the first conflict that they start to run into is how do they deal with this? There's a lot of problems, like, for example, how do they get everybody together? Now, on the other side of town, there's another kid named Spot, who is the competitor to the people who we are following. Now, Spot is rough, and so it's really hard to get him to integrate into the union. However, after a conflict which sees the main cast being assaulted and them fighting back, Spot ends up joining in. Now, a small gripe about the movie is that all of a sudden these children are being ambushed in an enclosed area, and Spot appears out of nowhere while they are having their asses kicked. So it's a rather strange thing that he just pops up out of nowhere to this group to help them. Yeah, he's teleported over from Brooklyn, but it's neither here nor there, so it's whatever. Movie's got a movie, But I digress. The next conflict comes when the police are chasing them around, capturing the much-beloved Crutches and imprisoning him. After that, the next big conflict is when Jack, Cowboy, gets kidnapped. He, along with a lot of the other children, are captured by a police raid, and this causes them to have to go before court. Now, it's a little bit of a kangaroo court, because they are instantly convicted by a judge. It's a little bit strange, but it's alright. However, Jack, Cowboy, gets a different treatment than all the other children. He instead gets to be locked up for a lengthy amount of time, whereas the other children get to go off scot-free with a fine of $5. Now, this is a lot of money to them, but it ends up getting paid by some person. In the end, he is faced with the crisis of having to join the bad guy or having to stay in jail or escaping or something like that. The bad guy being, of course, a business owner, because it's a Disney movie, and that's how it works. The movie the movie's theme seems to be very heavily pro-union, and I mean immensely heavy. And that's fine, it's just that it's a very nuanced topic to fit into a movie where it's children specifically being the ones who are protected. Now, it's still nice, so I like it. I like the theme, and I would recommend it to other people because it's not only a decent advocacy for unions, but it's also just a fun movie to watch. It's part musical, which is the medium to how it's displayed, but it's also a lot of dialogue, a lot of action. It gives a lot of interesting visuals, especially of the early 19th century New York, or actually really late 18th or 17th century. And that's what really ended up resonating with me. The historical setting, the very, very interesting union message. And so I would recommend it. I would recommend it to families who want to just watch a nice movie, or to young teenagers around that age range, or just people who just want to watch a good feel-good movie. That's the sort of feeling I got away from it, at least. So that's my review of the Newsies, and I hope you enjoyed.